Okay, so we're starting off in high kneeling. You can do this in standing. If you'd rather do it standing, then that's fine, okay? So if you're standing, make sure you're standing with your feet hip width apart. If you're doing high kneeling, we need the knees hip width apart. Okay, so if you're in kneeling, squeeze your bum a little bit and feel like you're lengthening up through the spine so you're nice and upright. If you're in standing, stand up nice and tall. So we'll do a little bit of a warm-up then to start with. We're just going to start with some shoulder rolls. So let's just roll the shoulders round. Nice big circles. Taking those shoulders all the way up to the ears. That's it. Wonderful. Should we change direction? Let's go the other way. Nice big circles. Wonderful. Nice and easy to start with. Fabulous. Okay, rest those shoulders down there. Let's bring the arms into this position. So the elbows are bent. I've got the elbows tucked in at the waist. We're going to do a Cleopatra. So on this one, you've got to keep your shoulders down really well. So we're going to take the hands out to the side. We're going to straighten out the arms and turn the palms down. That's it. Now let's fold the elbows back in towards the waist first, and then the hands come around. Wonderful. And then we'll do it again. So we'll send the hands away, straighten out the arms, turn the palms down, and then fold the elbows in. Hands come back around to center. Wonderful. Off we go again. So we'll send the arms out. Now, once those arms go out, make sure that you keep those shoulders down really well. We don't want them to creep up to the ears. That's it. And again, straighten out the arms, shoulders stay down. Wonderful. And then bring everything back in. Here we go. Should we just do one more time? Straighten out the arms. Fabulous. Elbows come back to the waist first, and then the hands come around. Wonderful. Now, let's just bring the hands together. Okay, so I've just got my thumbs sticking up because I'm going to keep looking at my thumbs now because we're going to do a little bit of rotation. So with this one, I want you to think about your hip bones, okay? These hips at the front, imagine they've got car headlights on. They're shining straight ahead. You've got to keep the hips completely still now. This one, don't let them move. So we're going to rotate round to the left. Should we go to the left? So as you breathe out now, let's rotate round to the left, looking at the thumbs as you go. And then we'll come all the way back round to our starting position. Wonderful. Then we'll go the other way. So we're going to rotate around the other side. And then come back to center. Wonderful. Now again, we want the shoulders nice and relaxed. That's it. Wonderful. Now, focus on those headlights, those car headlights. They're shining straight ahead. Don't let them move. So we're just twisting from the waist up. Nice, steady movement. Don't want to force it. That's it. Work nice and steady. Can we just do one more the other way? Oh, we've got a couple more people joining us. Just let them in. Wonderful. Here we go. One more. Round to the other side. And then come back to center. Wonderful. Relax the arms down. Give the shoulders a little roll around. Let's just have a little breather for a second. We've just got a couple more ladies who've just joined us. Good morning. If you've just joined us, don't worry, you haven't missed much. We've only just started. Okay, if you've just joined us, we are starting on the mat. We're in a high kneeling position or we're standing, whichever you prefer. We are going to do a little stretch this time. Okay, so let's have hands on the hips. Now, take your left hand and just swing it up towards the ceiling. And then let's flex over to the side. So you get that nice stretch down the side of the body. And then bring the arm all the way back down. Hands on the hip again. Okay, let's send the other arm up and over the top. Nice big stretch down the side of the body. And then come all the way back down. Wonderful. Off we go again. Other arm. Over to the side. Nice big stretch. And then come all the way back. Wonderful. Off we go again. Nice big stretch. Fabulous. Okay, relax the arms down. Just give the shoulders a little roll around. Wonderful. Okay. I think it's time we came down onto the mat and did a little bit more, didn't we? In a different position this time. So we're going to start now in all fours position. So hopefully you've got your hand towel, okay? Now you don't need your hand towel for this one, but I always use it, mainly because I've got a bit of a funny wrist and I just find it's more comfier to use the towel. It's also really handy if you find that just being on hands and knees in this position, it's not very comfortable on the wrist. Just by putting the heel of the hand on your towel, it just takes a little bit of pressure out of those wrists. Okay, so shall I show you the first one we're going to do? So just have a little look. Okay, I think we did this one. When did we do this? I think this was Wednesday we did this exercise. This is cat mobility. So let me show you and then you can have a little go in a second. So we set ourselves up in this position and we want to try and arch the back up and over. So we're going to tuck the tailbone under, tuck the head under, and we're going to arch the back up as much as we can. So we get a nice big stretch down the spine. And then we're going to come back to our starting position. Okay, I'll show you one more time. So we tuck the head under, tuck the tailbone under, arch the back up and over, and then come back to our starting position. So shall we have a little go at that? So let's set ourselves up. Okay, so we want to be in this all fours position. So you've got hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Okay. Now, before you start, just make sure that your back is sort of in a fairly straight position. Really, we just want a little curve in the lower back. What we don't want is to allow ourselves to sink. Okay, because then you get a big dip in the lower back there and we're not supported at all. So you've got to feel like you're sucking your navel up towards your spine a little bit. So you lengthen out the lower back nicely. Okay, you're looking down at the mat rather than up in front. So let's have a little go. So here we go. We're going to tuck the tailbone under first. Then we're going to tuck the head under. Then you're going to arch the back up and over as much as you can. So you get that nice stretch down the length of the spine. And then we're going to bring ourselves all the way back down into that starting position. Wonderful. Shall we do it again? So here we go. Let's tuck the tailbone under, tuck the head under. Arch the back up and over as much as you can. And then let's come all the way back to that starting position. So this one is a really nice exercise to mobilize the spine, especially the lower back. It works really nicely on that part of the back. Gives it a nice stretch, gets rid of any tightness, any stiffness. Wonderful. Should we just do it one more time? Here we go. Let's take the tailbone under, tuck the head under, arch the back up and over as much as you can. And then we'll come all the way back down to our starting position. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to come back into a shell stretch. So it's a nice relaxation position. We're going to sit back towards the feet. We're going to reach the arms forward. We're just going to rest down in this position for a second. And while you're down there, you could give those hands a little roll around, couldn't you? Just take any pressure out of the wrists that you might have been feeling. Wonderful. Okay, shall we come back up to sitting? Now, let me show you what we're going to do next. We're going to stay in our all fours position. We're going to do swimming legs. Now, we did this one. I can't remember what day it was. I think it might have been yesterday, actually. We did our swimming legs, but today we're just going to move it on a little bit. So instead of keeping the foot on the floor, as we slide the leg away, we're going to take the leg to hip height, and then we're going to bring the leg back down, okay? And then take it out again, okay? We're going to add in the arms as well. So once we've done a few of those legs, we're going to work opposite arm to leg. So as one leg goes out, we're going to swing the opposite arm forward and then bring it back down. So we work opposite arm to leg to challenge coordination as we're doing it. Okay. So shall we just start with the legs? Okay. So let's come back down into our all fours position again. So you've got hands under shoulders, the knees are under the hips. Remember to feel like you're lifting the navel up towards your spine, so you've got that nice length in the lower back. You're looking down at the mat. Here we go, it doesn't matter which leg you start on. So let's slide one leg away, let's float the foot to about hip height, and then bring it back down. Wonderful. Then we take the other leg out, float it up to hip height, and then bring it back down. Wonderful. And again, take the leg out, float it to hip height, and bring it back down. Wonderful. That's looking very nice. So you want nice straight legs as they go out. Okay. Wonderful. That looks really good. That does. Let's do a couple more, shall we? Take the leg out and back in. Here's our last one. Slide it out and back in. Wonderful. Let's sit back into shell stretch again. Reach with the arms again. Give the wrists another little roll around if you want to. Okay, let's come straight back up into our all fours position again. So this time we're going to add in those arms. So remember, we're going to work opposite arm to leg this time. Okay, now this time I want you to focus on keeping your body, the center of your body, as still as you possibly can while you're doing it. So let's have a little go. You can start up either leg. So here we go. We're going to slide one leg away. The opposite arm is going to go out and then bring everything back to that starting position. The other leg goes out, opposite arm swings forward, and then bring everything back to that starting position. Here we go again. Lengthen the arm and leg, and then bring it back in. Okay, so keep the rest of the body still as you can. So think of sort of the hips. Keep the hips as still as you can. You don't want to sway the body from side to side. See if you can stay still as possible. Wonderful. That's looking really good. Shall we just do one more on each leg? Here we go. So we'll lengthen out and return. Last one. Lengthen out and return. Should we sit back into shell stretch? Nice big reach with the arms again. Give the wrists another little roll around. Wonderful. Let's come back up to sitting. Okay, I don't know all of you. I don't know what levels that you're working at, if you've done Pilates before, but I thought I'd throw in one that's a bit more challenging, just in case you wanted to work a little bit harder. So we've got one more exercise to do in our all fours position. It's a little scrunchy lift. So let me show you what we're going to do. We're starting with the same position again. This time you're going to keep your knee bent and you're going to lift your leg. I've got my foot flexed. Now all you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your bum and you're going to press your foot up to the ceiling. So we're really working those gluteal muscles in your bum really well. So you've got to press and release, okay? Shall we have a little go? Shall we finish in this position with that one? So a nice setup again. Hands, shoulders, knees under hips. Wonderful. Okay, so take one leg. Keep the knee bent, lift it up and flex the foot. Wonderful. Okay, keep looking down at the floor if you can. Now, squeeze your bum. Push the foot up to the ceiling and release a little. Press the foot and release a little. Let's press and release. Press and release. We'll do 4 and 3 and 2 Last one, and then bring that leg down. Should we take the other leg straight up, ready to go again? So bend the knee, flex the foot. Here we go again. Squeeze your bum, press the foot up and down. Press it up and down. That's it. Keep it going. Wonderful. Keep looking down at the floor. Keep that neck in a nice position. Here we go. Let's do 4 and 3 and 2. Last one. Wonderful. Bring that leg down. Let's sit back into shell stretch one more time. Nice big reach with the arms. Give the wrists a little roll around again. Fabulous. And then we'll come back up to sitting. Good work so far. Okay then. So let's change position then, shall we? We've done enough in all 4s, I think. So this time, you'll need your towel. Just fold it. You're just going to put it under your head. Now, we're going to be using that cushion or that spare towel that you've got in a minute. So just keep that handy so that you can pick it up easily. Okay, so I'll show you the first one. Okay, we're going to start off with a nice basic one. Now, if you've been watching me earlier in the week, you know that when we've been coming down onto the mat in this position, I've been talking about finding that neutral position. So we're going to do that when we start. So basically, all that neutral position is setting yourself up so the spine is in its correct alignment. So all we need is a very small arch under the waist. So if you were to get your hand, only the tops of the fingers would be able to slide underneath. If the whole hand goes under, you know you're too arched. You just need to flatten a little bit. Okay, so I'll remind you of that when we come down in a second. Let me show you the first exercise. We're just going to do our simple scissor legs. We're going to float one knee up and then lower it back down. And then float the other one. Okay, that's all we're going to do. We'll start with that one, shall we? So let's come down onto the mats. Just pop the towel under your head just for a bit of support. And then the first thing I want you to do is find that neutral position. Okay, so you can tilt the pelvis backwards and forwards a couple of times. Okay, and just finish with a very slight curve in the lower back. You don't want to be too flat. Don't press the waist into the mat, but you don't want a big arch underneath either. Okay, just a little curve is fine. And what you've got to do now, as we're doing this first exercise, is stay in that neutral position because it'd be quite easy to let that back arch. We don't want to do that. We've got to stay in that neutral position. Okay, are we ready then? So you can start on either leg. We're going to float that knee up. So here we go. Let's float one knee up, float it up, and then float the leg back down. And then we do it on the other side. So we float the knee up, and then float it back down. And again, we're going to float the knee up, and float it back down. And again, float the knee up, and back down. Wonderful. So keep that going. So it's a nice steady movement. We don't want to rush it. We want these movements to be nice and controlled and as precise as possible, okay? Because we've got to focus on that neutral position as well, haven't we? So we don't want any movement through the center of the body. We don't want that to let that lower back arch, because if that back is arching, we lose our support. We don't want to hurt our back, so we need to stay in that neutral position. Here we go, last one. Float the knee and lower. Wonderful. Okay, now hopefully you'll recognize the next exercise. Let me show you. I'm going to take the arms up to the ceiling. We're going to start there. We're going to float the knee up again, just like we've done. Now, we're going to straighten out the leg this time. We're going to send both arms overhead as we straighten out the legs. Then we're going to bring the arms and legs back in, and then we lower the foot at the end. Okay, so I've done this one earlier in the week, so hopefully you recognize it. Let's have a little go, shall we? So we've got the arms up towards the ceiling. That's it. We're going to start by floating that knee up again. So here we go. We'll float one knee up. Now, let's straighten out the legs and send the arms overhead. And then bring everything back in towards each other. And then we lower the foot back down. Wonderful. And we do it on the other side. So we float the knee. We straighten lengthen out the arms and legs. We bring everything back in and then lower the foot down. Wonderful. Off we go again. So we float the knee. Straighten out the arms and legs. Wonderful. Okay, now, the only thing I want you to think about while you're doing it is that neutral position. So make sure your back isn't arching, especially as you take those arms overhead. Okay, so that's the point you need to watch. The arms go over, but you still stay in that neutral position. Wonderful. Here we go. Should we just do one more? Float the knee, lengthen out, return, and lower. Wonderful. Relax the arms down. Should we just have a little breather for a second? Let's just hug the knees in through the chest. Hug them in nice and tight. So you can have the hands on the top of your knees or underneath, wherever you find is more comfy. Wonderful. Okay, let's bring the feet back down onto the mat. Okay, now you need your cushion now, or your towel, if you've got a spare towel. Okay, I'm going to use my yoga block. We are going to put it between the knees. Okay, we still want to be set up in the same position. The only difference this time is I've got my feet together. Okay, so we're going to keep the feet together. We're going to hold on to our knee support, but we're not going to really squeeze it. We just want to hold it lightly so it doesn't fall out of position. Now, we're going to mobilize the lower spine. So we're going to just have the arms out to the side a little bit, just so they're out of the way on this one. Now, keeping a nice alignment as we're doing it, on this one, think about keeping your ankles super glued together so they don't slip apart. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to send the knees over to the side. So you keep the support between your knees. You send the knees over. Don't go any further than halfway to the floor. And then we just bring the knees back up to the ceiling. And that's all we're going to do. Okay? So let's have a little go, shall we? So here we go. Let's send the knees over to the side, keeping the ankles super glued together. Take the knees to about halfway, no more than that. And then bring the knees all the way back up to the ceiling. Now let's go the other way. So the knees go over to the side, keeping the ankles together. And then bring them all the way back up to the ceiling. Wonderful. Let's do it again. So the knees go over. No more than halfway. That's it. That's looking good. And then bring them all the way back up. So this is a nice exercise to mobilize the spine. So we'll keep going. We'll do a few more, shall we? Okay. Wonderful. Now, because we've got something between the knees, we could add in a little extra little thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to send the knees over to the side again. But this time, as the knees come back to the center, I want you to squeeze your knee support. So the knees go out to the side again. And this time, as they come back up, give the knees a little squeeze. Doesn't need to be too much. Just give them a little squeeze. And then once they come back to the center, then you can just release them at the top. Then we'll do it again. So we'll send the knees over to the side. And then bring them back up, giving the knees a little squeeze together. And release at the top. Wonderful. Let's do it again. So the knees go over. No more than halfway. Don't take them too far. That's it. And then squeeze the knees together. And bring them back up to the ceiling. Wonderful. Let's do a couple more. Here we go. Knees go over to the side. And then squeeze that knee support as the knees come back up. Wonderful. Here we go. Here's the last one. Over to the side. Fabulous. Nice squeeze as you bring those knees back up. Fabulous. Okay, let's move that knee support away for a second. Move it to one side. Okay, let's have a go at shoulder bridge. Okay, now I did this one earlier in the week, but I'll just demonstrate it. So you just have a little look if you're not sure which one I'm talking about. Shoulder bridge, we always have the feet a little bit closer because it makes it easier to go up. Now with shoulder bridge, we are going to peel the spine up off the mat. So we're going to peel the spine. You've got to imagine the spine is like sellotape, and you're pulling the sellotape up off the floor, and you're going to push up until you're up onto your shoulder blades. Now you've got to lower the spine and stick the sellotape back on the floor again. So start at the top of the spine, sticking it down through the mat, rolling into the waist. The hips go down to finish. Shall I show you one more time? So imagine the spine is like sellotape. You're peeling it up off the mat. So we're trying to get up onto our shoulder blades, but if you can't quite get up that high, that's okay, don't worry. When you're at the top though, try and keep the hips lifted. So you want to be in a nice straight position from the shoulders to the knees. And then we're just going to come all the way back down, sticking the sellotape back down onto the mat. Shall we have a little go at that one? Okay. So same setup, only we've got the feet a little bit closer. Okay, we're going to peel the spine up. So here we go. We're going to flatten the waist into the mat. We're going to lift the hips and then start peeling the spine like sellotape up off the mat. So just push up as high as you can, but squeeze your bum as you get up to the top, because if you squeeze your bum, it'll stop the back of the legs cramping. Now we're going to come back down. So slowly lower the spine, working from the top of the spine, sticking that sellotape back down onto the mat, finishing in that neutral position again at the end. So you finish with a little curve in the lower back again. Here we go. So we're going to peel the spine up off the mat. Squeeze your bum as you go up. Keep the hips nicely lifted out the top. And then slowly lower the spine all the way back down. Finishing in that neutral position at the end. Wonderful. Off we go again. We'll do a couple more. Peel the spine up. So again, we're working nice and steady. We don't want to rush through it. Nice, steady moves, taking our time. And then coming back down onto the mat. Here we go. Here's the last one. Don't forget, squeeze your bum. That will stop the back of the legs cramping. And then we'll come all the way back down onto the mat. Wonderful. Now I like shoulder bridge. You can do an awful lot with shoulder bridge. So let's do a couple more, but this time we'll add in some arms. So we're going to send the arms up to the ceiling. Now this time, as we peel the spine up, you're going to bring your arms down to the mat, and I want you to press your arms into the mat when they get to the bottom. Then as you lower the spine, you're going to send the arms back up. So let's have a go. Let's add those arms in. So the arm starts up to the ceiling. Here we go. Let's peel the spine up, float the arms down, press them into the mats, and then lower the spine and release the arms back up to the ceiling. Wonderful. Let's do that again. So we're going to peel the spine up, lower the arms down, press them into the mat as much as you can. That's it. And then lower the spine, float the arms back up. Wonderful. Should we do a couple more? Here we go. Peeling the spine up, press the arms down, release the arms, lower the spine. Fabulous. That's looking really good. Here we go. One more to go. Peel the spine up, press the arms into the mat, and then send them all the way back up. Wonderful. Lower the arms. Let's hug the knees into the chest again, shall we? Hug them in nice and tight. Wonderful. Okay then. Let's bring the feet back down. So let's focus this time a little bit more on strengthening the abdominals. So we're going to do some little curls this time. So I've just got my feet, I've just moved them away a little bit now. We're going to interlock the fingers. So I'll just demonstrate it again. You can watch if you want to start with. So interlock the fingers. The hands go behind the head. I've got my elbows nice and wide. Now on this one, you need to make sure that your head is fully supported in your hands. So your hands take the weight of the head as we curl the head and shoulders up off the floor. So we don't come up too high, just a little bit. And as I come up, I just gaze between the knees, and then we lower back down again, okay? So if you rest your head in your hands, you don't get any tension building up in the front of the neck. Okay, now on this one, I want you to think about your navel. Okay, I want you to feel like you're sucking your navel down towards your spine as you curl the head and shoulders up. So we don't want the abdominals to bulge out. We don't want them to pop out. You've got to keep them pulled in really well. Okay, should we have a little go? So interlock the fingers first. Hands go behind the head. Keep the elbows nice and wide because hopefully that will stop us pulling on our heads as well. Wonderful. Okay, here we go. Keep that navel sucked down towards your spine, and then let's curl the head and shoulders up just a little bit, looking between the knees, and then curl back down again. Wonderful. Here we go again. Curling the head and shoulders up, looking between the knees, and then curl back down. Wonderful. So just be aware of those abdominals. So when you curl up, you can have a little glance at those as well, couldn't you? Make sure they're not bulging out. Don't let them pop out. Feel like you're sucking that navel down towards your spine. Curling up and back down. Wonderful. Should we just do one more? Here we go. Curling up and back down. Wonderful. Let's have a little rest there. Just keep the hands behind the head, but just let the elbows fall out to the side a little bit so you get that nice stretch through the chest. Now, you remember the very first exercise we did when we came down onto the mat? It was our little knee floats, okay? We did some of those. So we're going to do those legs again, but each time we float the knee up this time, we're going to add in a little curl. Okay, it won't do too many, we'll just do a few. So here we go then. Let's curl the head and shoulders up, float the knee up as well, and then lower everything back to the floor. And then we do it again. So we curl up, and then we curl back down. Wonderful. And again, curling up, and curl back down. Wonderful. Keep going. Just have a little look at that one. That's looking good. Very nice. Remember, keep the head resting in your hands. Wonderful. Should we just do two more? Here we go. Curl up, float the knee, and lower. Last one. Curl up, float the knee, and lower. Fabulous. I think we should hug the knees into the chest again this time. Hug them nice and tight. Let's have a full body release as well, shall we? So we'll bring the feet back onto the mat. Straighten out both legs and send the arms overhead. Have a nice stretch through the whole of the body. Wonderful. Okay, bring the arms down, back by the side of you. Bend the knees again. And then let's just find that neutral position again. Make sure you're nice and comfortable on your mat. Arms are down by your side. Now, I haven't talked about the breathing much at all this week because it does seem to complicate things for a lot of people. They find it quite difficult to think about the breathing and everything else that's going on. So I thought we'd just finish with the breathing. So I'll just explain to you how we breathe in Pilates. So if we breathe at a certain time during our exercises, it helps us to stay in that neutral position. It helps the abdominals to work well, okay? When we breathe in Pilates, we always breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So let's just try that, shall we? So I just want you to take a nice deep breath in through the nose and then out through the mouth. And again, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Wonderful. Now this time, take your hands and just place them at the bottom of your ribs. Because as we take that breath in, I want you to see if you can fill your lungs with as much air as possible. And because you've got your hands on your ribs, see if you can feel the rib cage expanding. So let's have another go. Let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So take that deep breath in. Take all the air into the lungs. Let the rib cage expand out to the side. And then as you breathe out, feel the rib cage closing down again. Let's do it one more time. We won't do too much of it. So nice deep breath in, breathing into the ribs. Feeling the rib cage expanding under the hands. And then as you breathe out, feeling that rib cage close down again. Wonderful. So when we put our breathing into our Pilates exercises, that's how we breathe. We breathe into the ribs each time. We try not to breathe into the stomach if we can. We try and breathe into the ribs. Wonderful. Okay, relax the arms down by the side of you. Close your eyes for a second. Just let the arms just relax into the floor. Let your shoulders relax. Let the whole of your spine feel like it's sinking down into the mat. Your feet are melting down into the mat as well. Take another breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time, breathing in through the nose and out. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves back to sitting. So when you're ready, roll onto your side and then push yourselves back up to sitting. Give those shoulders a little roll around. Wonderful. Okay, so I was watching you as you were going through that, and you were doing really well. Okay, did a really fantastic job. Okay, so we've come to the end of day 4. It's gone so quick this week. I've got to say, it's flown by, but I've really enjoyed it. I think I mentioned in the group before I started this, it's the first time that I've done a workshop like this online, so it's been so nice to see so many of you joining me on Facebook, and especially today on Zoom, because I know some of you, but I don't know all of you, so it's nice to see you. Now, I've got time for some questions in a second, but before we do questions, if you've been watching me on Facebook in the week, you'll know that I've been asking you the question, how does your body feel? How did you feel at the beginning of the week before we started our 4-day workshop? You may have woke up in the morning, you've been feeling a little bit stiff in the lower back perhaps, or in the upper back, in the shoulders. Maybe your body just feels a little bit tired. Maybe you've got some aches and pains here and there that just come and go now and again. But hopefully you've had a go at the sessions with me over the last few days. And I'd just like you to think about how you're feeling now. How is your body feeling? Even if it's only just after this one session today. Okay, how are you feeling? Do you feel a little bit more relaxed in your body? Do you feel a little bit more stretched? Do you feel like the body has opened up a little bit and you're just starting to release that tension a little bit? Maybe, because some people feel quite energized after Pilates. Some people feel really chilled out and relaxed, but others feel really energized and they're raring to go. That's the effect it usually has on me, especially when I do some strength exercise. It really sets me up for the day. So I just want you to just be aware of how your body is feeling now, and hopefully it is feeling a little bit better than it was at the beginning of the week, because that's ultimately what we want, isn't it? As we get a little bit older, as we reach our 50s, 60s, and we get into our 80s, which is a long way off for all of us, yeah, I know, but we want to stay independent, don't we, as we get a little bit older. We want to keep our bodies moving, we want to stay mobile, we want to stay active, fit and healthy, so we don't have any of those aches and pains that are going to stop us doing all of those things that we love doing in our life, okay? So if you've enjoyed this week, I would love you to continue doing Pilates with me if that's what you'd like to do. Okay, I have an online membership. I briefly mentioned it yesterday, but I'll just do it again just because I'm not sure if everybody heard it yesterday. It's an online membership. There are lots of on-demand videos in that membership so that you can work through, regardless of what stage you are at in your Pilates practice. If you're a complete beginner or you're more experienced, there is something for everyone. We have challenges in there every month. There's always something going on. But the one thing about the membership that I really like, and I know that people are starting to find out for themselves now, is that these Zoom sessions are really making a difference because we can get together. We can do, it's just like going to a normal class in a hall, isn't it? Which unfortunately we just can't do at the minute. But we can get together at a certain time every week, and it just keeps that momentum going. It keeps our Pilates practice up. It keeps us exercising. So you get Zoom sessions included with that membership as well. I'm going to send you the replay of today's session. I'll also send you some details of the membership as well, so you can have a look through it in your own time as well. Okay. Now,